Well, the Royal Enfield Constellation looks like it's nearing completion now, and it sort of is, although there is one little obstacle that I'm going to have to deal with, which is a bit of a backward step unfortunately, but we've got most of it back together now, and I've got all the electrics working, and the tail light and brake light, everything, and the seat and rear mudguard are all bolted together. And on these British Royal Enfields, the seat and the rear mudguard, you can remove them as one. You just undo a couple of nuts and unplug the wires, and the old lot comes off out the way, which is nice. Got a fuel tank there, which the owner supplied like that, all re-chromed and repainted. I'm not sure whether that's going to stay on yet or not. He might, I'm not sure, I'll have to check. I think he wanted, or might have wanted, pinstriping done on that, we'll see. But that's not a problem. There's a guy in the village that can do that if we need it. I've put a fuel tap in there that's basically an on tap rather than a reserve tap. Now it means it'll leave the last inch or so of fuel in the bottom of the tank. And my reason for doing that is that there was quite a bit of rust in there. Nothing alarming, the tank is structurally sound, but rather than sort of chuck it around with nuts and bolts inside it and whatever after this nice paint job he's had done and the re-chroming, I think he might rather, or I certainly would rather, just live with the fuel being picked up from the tank down to about there. And perhaps every now and again fuel tap could be removed and the residue drained out, and eventually things might clean up anyway. And I think that the tank could be used like that, with the tap like that, without upsetting the carburetors or, you know, clogging jets and stopping the engine and causing reliability issues. The bigger thing I've got to deal with, this machine originally, well not originally, but as it came in its dismantled form, had used a separate aluminium top yoke, and the owner wanted this casket fitting. So I did all that, transferred all the bits over as required and put the front end together with the casket on as he wanted. But when I came to screw the little chrome screws into the top of the forks, there was no thread there to screw them into. After a bit of head scratching, I spoke to Hitchcock's, and they told me that they had adapters with threads in that could be used to get those little threaded plugs into the tops of the forks. So I ordered a set, and I thought, that's funny, they got a great big sort of flange on them, how do they fit in there? So I turned them down in the lathe, not realising, I think I figured out that actually they're supposed to go in from underneath and up ahead of the stanchion screwing into the casket. So I think I'm going to have to just grit my teeth and take the front wheel off, get the fork stanchions unscrewed and lowered a bit. I can still actually probably fit them from underneath, even though I turned the flanges down on them a little. I'm sure that I can line them up and then screw the stanchions back up tight against them, and then screw these plugs into them as I think they're supposed to go, where they'll sort of go down flush, or perhaps even beyond the holes in the top of the casket there. So that's sort of go back a couple of spaces job, but I think it ought to be done because it can't be right like that. But other than that, we're not too far off, and like I said, once I've done that with the forks, we've got some side light assemblies to order. All the wiring is in place and working for everything. We know that the engine runs and works, so it really shouldn't be long now. And we had this seat restored. I sort of inquired about getting a new seat because the owner said, oh, it needs a new seat, and the old seat had a few holes in it and rips, and the foam inside it had gone all sort of crusty and dusty, and the base had a split in it and needed welding up. But no new seats were available, so we got this one sent off to RK Leighton's, and they've done a lovely job of it. And it goes well with the rest of the bike, I think. And like I say, hopefully we should be in the closing stages with this one, but I'd better get that front wheel off and deal with that issue with the front forks, because that's not right. But other than that, it's not looking too bad at all.